on this week's episode, we're going to discuss the fine line of when people help you too much or when people don't help you enough with a disability.
It's hard, and we're here to discuss it.
Yes, so stick around.
Hello, and welcome to Rare with Flair,
the podcast where two best friends with the same rare disease are living their best lives. I am your host, Casey.
And I'm your host, Cassandra.
Gaz!
Guys!
It is a few days after Halloween, so we hope all of our listeners had a good Halloween. If you did anything fun, if you dressed up, went to a party, watched a movie, whatever. I think we did all of the above.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I know, Case is a spooky girly, and I feel like being friends with her has, made me enjoy Halloween more.
Ugh.
So, what did you dress up as? Because I know you dressed up.
So, there was this show from the 90s called Legends of the Hidden Temple, and it was a game show, and I loved it a lot, and, there were teams of different animals, but there were two people per team. So there were two blue barracudas, two purple parrots, two green monkeys. Yeah, that one's not an alliteration for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. So my boyfriend and I dressed up as the two players from the blue barracudas, and we spray painted our helmets gold, and we had the shirts and the knee pads and the whole thing. And it was funny because we went to a party, and I would say about 50% of people knew who we were, but it was funny because some people knew us instantly and some people didn't. It was a little more niche, but I don't know how we came up with that, but we thought it would be funny, and we had a fun time. So
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Y'all's pictures looked really cute.
They were fun.
Just a fun time putting it together.
Oh yeah, we totally did. And then you had the cutest costume ever as well.
Oh my gosh. I have an affinity for couples costumes when I do them with my dogs.
Yes.
So I had to do, if you watched my graduation little speech thing after I got Anaheim, I compared him to the man of the year. Not really, I don't know who will be, Travis Kelce. So I dressed up like Taylor, and I got fake bangs, and I wore a Taylor cardigan for Showgirl, and he had a little Travis Kelce football jersey, and it was really fun.
And it was perfect because the week you met Anaheim was the week they got engaged, and the whole thing just...
Yeah, they got engaged while we were in
while you were
training,
there.
Which was insane.
Yeah.
It was so wild.
That Halloween costume wrote itself, that you couldn't have been anything more perfect. I mean, there are many other cute things you can do with Anaheim in the future. You have a running list, I'm pretty sure.
I have a running list, and if anyone has ideas, also hit me up, because I am very much open to ideas.
Had to do Taylor and Travis, and it was a very, very cute. And honestly, we haven't even caught up on how each other's Halloweens went yet, so we'll have to do that more after the pod. That's the Patreon. No, I'm kidding. We don't have a Patreon.
Right.
The added content of us talking. No, that'll be not recorded.
Literally just us talking.
Yeah, that will be a non-recorded segment when we catch up about our own Halloweens. But I think we both had a good Halloween overall. And
so good.
Yeah, we're excited for it. This episode, though...
So fun, and it's nice chillier weather.
Oh, it's nice and chilly.
We're really getting into the end of the year. It's so exciting.
It's so exciting. Not Spawn, but I'm obsessed with this app called Finch, where you have a little bird and you do self-care. And I love goal setting and self-care, and I also love the little outfits and trinkets you get to have for this bird. And so I'm kind of obsessed. Cass is on it as well. And it's a fun little
I
time.
did lose my streak last night. Unfortunately, I didn't open it yesterday, which is sad.
That's okay. We all have days. We all have our days.
There's grace for that.
There is grace. And also I may or may not be seeing Cass soon, but we will, be on the lookout for our next episode. It's going to be quite exciting. Yeah, heavy breathing. It's going to be quite the adventure. I think you're going to love it. I know I will.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. There may or may not be a subsequent episode where we are in the same room as we have done before. And this is a good plug to go listen to some of those, because we did it in May when we went to the American Thoracic Society, and we did one last year when Casey came to visit.
They are always chaotic.
They're always chaotic because we can never like talk over each other the way that we do when we're in person when we have the FaceTime lag.
Ain't that the truth? They
Man.
are chaotic and amazing. So, very excited.
Guys, okay, I'm excited for this episode. It was Casey's idea, so I'm going to let her explain it. But, like, it's one of those things that we've definitely talked around, but never directly.
Yes. So, Cass and I have maybe kind of mentioned the concept of this in past episodes, like our Dear Sighted People episode, our episode, the, Are We a Burden episode. But yeah, like she said, we've never made a designated episode for this topic, and I think it's a really, really good one, and it's really nuanced and complicated, but also fun to talk about, I think. So we're going to be discussing that gray area between people helping you too much when you have a disability and people not helping you enough. And I think this is something we have literally experienced our entire lives since childhood. And it's, you have different... It's different whether it's your teacher, your friend, your parent, your partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's different, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of some of the ways we like to be treated. And we have talked about this a little in the past, but it is complicated, and we can't expect people to be perfect at it, but people can learn as they get to know us better, I think, too.
Yeah, and like, I worry, and I don't want this episode to dissuade you from helping someone.
No.
Because if you want to help someone, then do that, please. I think in many cases, I'm not going to say all, some help is absolutely better than no help.
Oh, yeah.
And even the offer of help is very, very kind and beneficial. But like, it's hard because, we want to toe that line between, being independent and being pandered to. And there is a middle ground. It's just really tough to find, and it varies depending on your relationship to the person, like Casey was just saying.
Absolutely. It's so hard, like you were saying, like when I think, would I rather have help or no help? I would definitely rather have help. But if the question were, would I rather have no help or someone treating me like a child, that triggers me. So that's a harder question to answer. So there is that line. So yeah, we do not want to like turn you away from helping us. We love help, but we'll get into some examples.
And I think it's a spectrum too. In the spectrum of no help and pandering, I think I want a little help. I think also as I've grown older, I have like appreciated and enjoyed, and as also just an act of like my own vulnerability, have allowed for more help in my life.
Yes.
And that's, I think, maybe good, but it's so hard to find that balance.
Yeah.
And explain it to people without them like getting worried about, I don't know, like, if you tell people that you're helping too much, they are definitely hurt by that, I think, and are hesitant to want to do something in the future.
Yeah. We want to feel quote unquote normal. We want to feel like equals, but we're not completely normal. We do have a disability, and so we definitely appreciate the help and need the help. Cass, I think maybe we could give some examples, real life examples of when people are either helping too much or not helping enough, and how that makes us feel. And then maybe we can also talk about the perfect medium, or like examples of when it really is so great and so helpful. I guess the most obvious place to start could be when people are helping too much. So I'll tell a little story. I went on a date once with this guy from an app. It was just one date. I literally don't even think I remember his name. It was many years ago. He was a very, very sweet guy, but I had told him I was visually impaired, and he quite literally took it took that and ran with it, to the point where just every second he was like, there's a step, and I had my cane with me, so like, and he was really sweet, but it was just a lot, to the point where I felt like and this was our first date, I felt like he almost was seeing me for my disability and not like seeing me as I am. I wouldn't have wanted him to not help me at all. My disability is there and it's real, but I want to feel like an equal, with I don't want to feel like you're my caretaker, necessarily, when I'm with a friend or someone I'm dating or whatever. I want to feel like an adult. And I think in situations like that, when you first meet someone and you don't know how to do it, I think honestly, Cass, I don't know if you agree, but I think in that situation, we can maybe ask for help when we need it. Like, it's nice when people offer it up, but if you feel that you're offering it up too much or you don't know when to offer it up, I think when you're getting to know someone, it's almost in our corner to be the one to say, hey, could you read this for me? Hey, could you do this?
Yes. I think I would rather ask.
Then have to tell them, hey, back off.
Please stop. Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to do that in a kind way. Because like sometimes I've done that in especially the situation that you've described. I think people don't really know what the tools that we have actually do. And I don't blame or fault them for that. It's just, they lack exposure. And so here we are having to do our lovely little duty of being educators, but also just trying to like actually exist. And so I'll have my cane, and then all of a sudden everybody's telling me where the steps are. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to stand there and be like, hey, the cane is actually tactile feedback. And if there's a step, I'm a no.
Yeah.
Or like a step up or a curb, like my guide dog is working. I'm holding on to his harness handle. He's going to stop at the curb before you tell me. But if you gasp really loudly because you're afraid I'm going to run into something, that's going to scare us and really throw us off balance. Okay, I have a really good example of helping too much.
Oh, please.
Where like it's always with the steps. It's mostly like walking around. But I have had it in situations where like people maybe like read every single thing on a menu and I'm like, that's nice. I can just use my phone for that. But I was going to get in a ride share that generally transports folks with disabilities. So most of the drivers, I don't know what kind of training they have to go through. I've heard from some of the drivers that pick me up regularly, it's somewhat extensive. But I'm like leaving my house. I'm using my cane. So this is a few months ago. And I have my AirPods in and I think I was listening to something, but I'm getting in the car from my house. And all of a sudden the driver who was standing outside of her car waiting for me, sees me approaching my steps and then literally grabs me, grabs my arm and is like, you were gonna fall. And I was like, I wasn't actually. So my AirPods fly to my ears because arrested momentum. Ooh. And I was pretty mad. So I yank every time someone grabs me, I yank my arm free. I do not want people touching me.
No.
I don't like it.
No.
Strangers, right? Like, of course, people I know and love. That's different. But I don't want a stranger touching me because it's unexpected.
No, people. Yeah, I've had the same thing happen where a stranger just grabs me.
Yes, it's so disorienting. And so like my AirPods fly to my ears. I'm like, and I literally yell, I'm like, don't grab me. And then she helps me get my AirPods, and then I was like, this is my house. I live here. Like, I know the steps to leave the area. And so, you know, we get in the car and I take some breaths. And then as we're approaching the destination, I was like, she felt really bad because then, of course, I got mad. And she was like, oh, it's my first day. I'm so sorry. And I was like, I get that. I do. Just in the future, if you see someone with a cane like this, just know that you should ask them if they need help first before grabbing them, because I wasn't going to fall because I know the steps in my house, but I felt like I was when I got grabbed and disoriented.
Yes. You know? Well, no, yes. Someone grabbing you without your knowledge is going to make you fall more than if they don't grab you. Truly. Yes. I have had people grab me on the streets of New York when I lived there and to like help me cross the street. And it makes me trip more when someone just grabs me. Yes. And so it's actually more dangerous and actually just really scary for us because we don't see it coming, and quite literally. And
it's terrifying.
You know, it's scary. So no, I'm glad that was an education moment for her, and I'm sure I'm sure these people have good intentions. We always disclaim that. We know that they're not trying to do anything wrong, but they need to learn too that that's inappropriate, and you shouldn't really just touch anyone without their consent, to be honest, especially a stranger. Especially a blind person who can't see it coming. That's even worse. I think like there are two reasons, if we want to really dig deep, get psychological here, Cass, about why this like bothers me so much. I think there are two reasons. The first reason is if you're helping me too much, it makes me feel like you're seeing my disability before you're seeing me. And I am disabled before I'm Casey. And then the second thing is, and Cass and I have talked a lot about this, when someone is helping us a lot, and sometimes it's lovely. Sometimes help is just the most lovely thing, and we are so grateful. But sometimes, and you can tell, like, I feel like I'm pretty intuitive and pretty good at reading people. And I think a lot of people would be able to read this, actually. I can tell when people have this, like, Good Samaritan superiority complex, and they enjoy it a little too much. Like, you can tell that they're really a little too gung-ho about helping, to the point where it's making them feel really, really good about themselves. And I can smell this from a mile away. I'm sure you can too. There are plenty of people who are very helpful who don't give off this vibe, but it's this certain vibe of people who are like, oh, let me do this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, it's overwhelming, and it makes me feel like they are feeling really good about themselves for helping the blind person and or being seen helping the blind. I think they also like being seen out in public helping me too. And they like being seen with the blind girl. I secretly do think some people like being seen with us, with our cane and our guide dog, because it makes them feel like, oh, I'm friends with the disabled person. I'm helping the disabled person. It's weird. And, you know, we're all human. We all have some weird, like, ego things of wanting to be noticed or whatever. I get it. Maybe anyone would feel a little bit like that, but it is a little bit, like, can you smell that from a mile away when someone is on that level?
Yeah. I have, like, 17 thoughts about it.
Please. I love this. I love this.
So many different directions. So, oh my gosh. Okay. I hope I can remember everything as you were saying it. I was like,
Take your
this
time.
and this and this. Okay.
Take your time.
One of the things I was thinking about to like help put in perspective when you were saying about how people like to be seen with us because it makes them look good.
Yes.
It sort of reminds me, it's not exactly the same, but it does sort of remind me of back in 2020 when there were a lot of Black Lives Matter protests. And I think people then overcorrected and started learning things that were probably really important for them to learn. But I think people then wanted to be like, oh, look at me with my racially diverse friends.
Yeah.
I'm not a terrible person, you know? I also see, like, I've seen so many men on dating apps who, like, post pictures of them with someone disabled, and it really gives me the ick.
Yeah.
Like, look at me, I'm a helpful guy, I volunteer with the disabled, so you should think that I'm a really good person. And it feels like a prop.
Typically, those men are actually the most ableist people out there, too.
Yes.
Because I've talked to some that, like, work with disabled kids, and they're actually the most rude about my vision of anyone. It's so
strange because, like, I don't want to slam something that I think the church is rather involved in, but in like the book that we've talked about before, My Body's Not a Prayer Request, this event is mentioned often. It's like, oh, do you remember what it's called? It's like that disability prom thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. It's
like the... Oh my gosh, I just stuttered a bunch and I don't even know what it was. It's like light, shine, night or something.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think people volunteer at things like that just so that they can feel really good about themselves, and it's not to learn from the disability community. It does really feel like they are intending to pander to the disability community.
Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because it just further others the community, and this is why people don't want to identify as disabled.
Yes, the problem is when you're helping for the wrong reasons, you are seeing the disabled people as inferior to yourself. And that's when it becomes sticky. You've got to just, like, it's more like I would rather my friends help me out and then I help my friends out. It's a two-way street. We talked about that in the burden episode.
There's reciprocity.
Yes, it's a two-way street. But if you're only ever the one being helped, it doesn't feel even, and it feels like they have the upper hand, and it's weird. So, yeah.
I think people also assume that we maybe some people assume that we maybe want the attention. Like, I was just watching Harry Potter because it was around Halloween, and like there was something that just kind of hit disability related, where Draco is like, "Oh, Potter, I bet you love the attention of being famous and whatever." And he literally hates it so much.
Yeah.
He really would. And I think he responds like, I would rather just be me.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, yes. Like, you just want to be a person and exist. And you know that by loudly being disabled, be that you look different, you use tools that are different, you identify in some way that is visible, like, you're gonna attract attention because you're just different than everybody, like all the normies out there. And so it's really challenging to try to assert your identity. I'm just Casey, for example. And not just your disability, you know?
And I think, I agree with you, but I think also the attention we get, like the attention I get using my cane and the attention you get using Anaheim, your dog, is a little different than the attention an able-bodied friend with us would be getting. Like, I think the able-bodied friend is able to have the attention of, I am friends with this, or I am helping this disabled person. I am a good person. I'm either a good person because I'm helping this disabled person, or I'm a good person because I'm open-minded enough to be friends with a disabled person. I don't know what it is. And you know, like, back to what you were saying about Harry Potter, it's hard because I don't want to get too off topic because we're talking about other people helping us, but like, it is hard because I don't want to hate it either. Like, I don't want to like hate the attention because then I'm hating my life, you know, but I also don't want to like love it either. So I'm kind of in the middle.
We don't like seek it out.
No. I'm in the middle. Sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's neutral. It just depends on the day and what's happening, you know, like, but yeah. All of that being said, like, you know, your true friends are really cool people when they're not feeling that negative or positive attention. They're just like, they see you as you and your disability as a part of you, but they see you first. And you can tell when someone sees you first, and it does feel nice.
Yeah. I think still in the realm of like people over helping, I think of also people being surprised or impressed or, you know, just otherwise complimentary about you doing something somewhat regular.
Yes.
That doesn't really feel very good.
No.
I dated a guy long term many years ago now that was just, I think, more of an anxious person, and so, you know, tended to like lean on words of affirmation. And so, like, very, very complimentary, and to the point, though, that, like, sometimes just, like, going down the stairs, all of a sudden he'd be like, oh, good job. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, I just went down the stairs that I've been down several times. Like,
yeah.
I know this was probably a reflex for you to say, but it really shouldn't be congratulated for doing a normal activity.
Yeah. No, you just reminded me, there was a guy I had a big crush on for a while once, and we were walking down the street, and I had my cane, and there was a huge puddle, and I could see the reflection of, you know, so I walked around the puddle, and he was like, oh my gosh, good job. Like, you walked, and I was like, like, it's just, it's the condescension for me, and I think it's both,
condescending.
Like, we get triggered when people treat us like kids, and, you know, when people infantilize disabilities, it's a trigger for sure, and
it's a trigger. It's
like
a
when we're with
trigger.
our parents, and they're like, oh, are you going with your mommy and daddy? You know, like, and we're like, no, we just like our parents. We like to hang out with our parents. We're sorry. What?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Going to my Bible study, like, I don't actually take my cane or dog because I've been to the church where my Bible study is many times, and I know basically how to get to the room and how to get to the sanctuary and then how to leave. Like, that's all I really need to know. So I don't take anything. And, you know, I have my iPad, and of course, like, I'm doing things that are not normal. Like, I'm zooming in on my iPad and holding it pretty close to my face just so I can read it. You know, whatever. That's not quite normal. But I don't have any tools to signal the fact loudly that I'm vision impaired. And so, like, the leader of... I was just telling Casey this was really recent.
Yes.
The leader of our Bible study, who, like, she doesn't know me personally. She basically teaches in a large group setting. She's sweet. I do really like her, at least from a distance. But, you know, I get a ride share to Bible study every time because that's mostly how I get to most places.
Yeah, yeah.
And so one time she asked me, like, do you Uber everywhere? And I said, yeah, I do. And she was like, oh, wow. I don't think she fully said, I don't think I could do that. She was like, I think she felt kind of bad. Like, I think I should learn to use that. Well, she was like, well, good for you. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm like, thanks. And
good for you.
Then again, recently, like a month later, she was like, it's so good to see you coming out of your Ubers every week. And I was like, yup, that's how I get places. And so, like... You know, I think part of it is just the unheard of concept that people anywhere that doesn't have major transportation think that like not having a car is, but also like that is just my daily life. And I know that these people probably don't know that. And that's the challenge, that we always have to be the bigger person because we have to always have to be empathetic and be like, well, they don't know any better, and I'm not going to stand here and explain my life to this random person. And so they're going to probably do something pandering again to me next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, we hear ignorant comments all the time, and 9 times out of 10, they're not trying to be rude, but we hear it all. We still hear it all the time, so it really...
But it's still rude anyway.
And it can be triggering, because when you've heard 10 comments like that in the last week, it's more triggering than you would expect sometimes. Because they all build on each other, and then you're like, ah, like, you know, so it's definitely complicated.
Like, yes, I can get around, and I think this, like, really just stems from, you know, the over-complimenting, the condescension, the pandering, I think it's just because people truly lack exposure. Like, if there were better, maybe, disability representation in the media, or all kinds of other factors, or people were just better educated on disability from other sources, they wouldn't think that, you know, we wouldn't be maybe the first person with a disability that they've seen in their lives, and they wouldn't just think that all we do is putter around our homes.
Yeah.
Which, like, I guess, you know, that some people do that, but some able-bodied people do that too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Like, I'm aware that being blind is one of my defining features.
Yes.
And I'm okay I am okay with it. Like, I know that, I know that. Actually, it's funny. I didn't tell you this story, but I had a friend who was on a date with a guy, and I texted her while she was on her date. So my name came up on the phone, and she mentioned my name. He thought he knew me. He was like, oh, I know Casey, you know, like, and she started to describe me. She's like, she's short, she's blonde, and like one of the third or fourth things she said is like, she can't see very well, she can't drive, you know, and to like describe me. And the guy was like, oh wait, never mind, I know a different Casey or whatever. But like, I'm not offended by that at all. I think, yeah, that is one of my defining features. Most people who know me know that I can't see. So if you're trying to describe me to someone, that is fine. You know, that is like kind of a feature that would be so distinct that it's like, you would know if this is the right Casey you're talking about or not, because it's a distinct feature and it is like a defining characteristic, but it is not
I do appreciate that she like hesitated on using it first.
It wasn't like the blind one. Yeah, it wasn't first, but she said a few other things and then threw that in just because it is like distinctive, like it helped. Yeah, you know,
absolutely. I would not be surprised if people that I know identified me that way.
Oh no, not at all. And I'm not offended by that either.
No.
This person is also not overly annoyingly helpful either. So, you know, but yeah, it's just funny.
It's hard because just like everything, it's a fine line, right? Mm-hmm. And so my mom has joked, like, you need someone, like, dating-wise, like, you need someone with a savior complex, sort of. And I'm like, kinda, but not fully, right? Mm-hmm. And so it makes me think of when Taylor and Travis did the New Heights podcast, and he was talking about how he wanted to save a wild otter and not one in captivity, a wild otter, that he wanted to be the one to save it. And like, obviously there's a direct parallel there with their relationship. Yeah. And, you know, like, to an extent, that is nice. You do want someone in the terms of a relationship who feels like they have something to offer, but obviously, like what you were saying, there has to be a level of reciprocity.
Yes.
You know, you also have to offer them something, and I think that sometimes people forget that we have things that we can possibly offer.
Correct. If you are on an dating app, or dating anyone for that matter, and you tell someone, I am disabled, you disclose it. We obviously don't want a negative reaction, which we've both gotten. We don't want that. But you don't want them to be too excited about it. Like you don't want, it's not because the problem with this is disability can be fetishized, and that's disgusting. Also, some abusers, people who tend to be abusers, like the idea of dating a weaker person because they think they can control you more. And that is the truth. We've got to be, as disabled women, especially, we have to be careful because some people like the idea of dating someone, quote unquote, lower than them in their eyes, or someone that needs more help, or someone that relies on them and needs them because if they need me, then they're not going to leave me when I abuse them, kind of thing. Now, Cass and I think we're pretty good at like trying to avoid toxic people like that, you know. But it is a little bit, you know, it's like if they get a little too excited about the disability part, it's a little bit like, why are you into this? Like don't be into this. Be normal. Be normal about this.
Just be normal about it.
Just be normal about it.
Yeah. No, actually, there really is. I feel like there's like a potential subtopic for a future episode of trying to be safe while being disabled.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh.
It's really, really, really hard to know when to accept something and be kind and be gracious and be vulnerable and open and, you know, like not hyper independent, right?
Yeah.
And set that aside, especially for someone who tends to want to be hyper independent like me. But you have to be so careful because people are not always well-intended, and there are really gross people out there.
And I think most of them don't even know they're not well-intended. Like, they probably think they're well-intended, but they meet a disabled person, and even subconsciously, they like the idea that they have the upper hand. It's weird. It's weird. I feel like
I
don't want to scare the audience. I think most people are not abusive creeps. Like, you know, like I'm not saying like you can't date people when you're disabled. That's not the truth at all. Plenty of people are disabled and are fine. But it is something we have to be more aware of. I mean, I think all people have to be aware of getting into a bad relationship or an abusive situation, but I think people with disabilities, even a little more so, we need to be aware that can be an attractive quality to some people, which is not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, no, to fellow disabled folks, like, don't delude yourself and think that doesn't exist. It very much does.
Yeah.
But just be careful and exercise your best judgment.
Yep. And don't, I think that we don't have to be hyper independent. We can ask for help, but we also don't want to let them see a weakness in us either. You know, I think like if we are capable people, then they won't take advantage of. I mean, you know, you can still get taken advantage of, but we need to show people that we are also capable and we don't need them to survive, blah, 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 you know, all of that stuff.
But I think that was all of the 17 things I wanted to say. It was probably more like 5, but
there are, however, some people in our lives that don't even know we're disabled. They're unaware still to this day. Or you would
think so by the way that they interact with us.
I can think of a few right now that literally I don't think they know that I can't. I think they think like, oh, it's like she needs glasses or something, but she's fine.
Yeah, literally like the people in my Bible study is what I'm thinking of immediately.
But I feel like even they don't fully know. There are some people, even in my own family, God love them, they fully know. They fully know I'm disabled, but they do not act as though they are aware that I am disabled whatsoever when I am around them. They are not helpful, not because they're rude, but because they literally do not remember that I have a disability, which is also a problem in its own right. This is the opposite side of the spectrum, and it's its own problem when people are not helpful whatsoever because they literally just don't remember you're disabled ever.
It's challenging. It's challenging, and like I want to distinguish that because that is very real. I want to distinguish that from people who are just regularly in our lives and are aware of it, but occasionally like forget. Obviously, you know, that happens, and sometimes I find it a little bit complimentary.
I do too.
Even though it's a little bit awkward.
It's a little endearing.
You know, people then just... It is endearing. They saw you so much like a person that... Like a regular normie person, that they didn't make your vision the focal point of every single interaction, which is nice.
Yes. Yes. I'm okay if people are forgetful every once in a while about it. In fact, I think it's cute. It's like, oh, like, yeah, they're not seeing blind Casey. They're seeing Casey who's blind, you know. But when they literally can't get it through their head at all that you ever need help ever, even if you try to kind of explain it. I mean, there are a few people coming to my mind. I love them to death. I love them. But there are a few people that it's like no matter what you do, they're not going to get it. And even, I mean, forget friends and family, even like teachers growing up, there would be some that like you could explain to the moon and back that like I need these accommodations, I need this, I need that, and they would just like ignore you and not care and not believe you and that's, I feel like when you're not seeing my disability at all, you're not fully seeing me because it is a part of me, and I don't feel fully seen when you're not acknowledging it. And also when you're not acknowledging it, it makes me feel like you're uncomfortable with it, and like you are like, it's like the elephant in the room and you don't want to ever talk about it. Or, like, we can acknowledge it, we can talk about it, you can do a blind joke here and there if you're very close to me, and I actually appreciate that because it makes me know that it's out in the open and we're not like tiptoeing around this thing.
Right, but you gotta tread that carefully. You gotta really know me in order for that to be okay.
Best friends circle.
Yeah, I've had people definitely take advantage of that privilege, and I've had to shut them down. It's not pretty, guys.
Same. I've been there. I do like a blind joke every once in a while with my inner circle, if it's not constant and it's well timed and it, I appreciate it, but some people don't, and you need to be aware of like how much and how little people appreciate the humor. But I think laughing about disability is fun in small doses, as long as you're laughing with me.
Yeah, I think that it generally helps break the tension because, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it. Able-bodied people are afraid of disabled people.
Yes.
Like, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to deal with you. They're afraid of you, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. But they also like don't understand that you could have like a somewhat normal life, although different. And so, like, people are. I think people generally appreciate it because they're like, okay, she's not delusional, I guess, about it, and like is aware, like self-aware, right?
Yeah. When people joke about it with me, I feel like they're not uncomfortable by it, and I don't want people to be uncomfortable by it. I think it's the opposite side of the spectrum. There are those people who love being seen with us because they feel like a saint. But then there are those people who hate being seen with us because they feel embarrassed by it or like they don't want to be, and that's weird. But yeah, I just think.
Do you have a story about people being anti-helpful?
It's harder to come up with stories in this context because I think like the story is that you're hanging out with someone and they're just not being helpful at all. And then when you mention you can't see, they kind of, dismiss it, or they're like, oh yeah, well, we all have problems, or what, whatever. And it's like, they're just not getting it. So I don't know if I can think of specific examples, but there are just certain people who never think to offer help. And I think sometimes it's ignorance. Like they're just kind of, they forget you can't see. But then sometimes we've talked about this. There are some people who act annoyed when we're asking for help. I mean, I have had people where I've asked them to read me something or do something and they kind of huff and they're kind of like, oh, okay. And like, that's rare. I don't want to make it seem like that's a commonplace thing. And honestly, if people were like that a lot, I probably wouldn't keep that company because that's kind of rude. But I think we've had people who seem put out by it, or maybe people who think that we're being over dramatic about it or overdoing it when they just really don't know. Like they think our vision is like way more simple than it is, and they're like, oh, they can just fix it with glasses. Why are they being so dramatic? They're fine. Like they can get around. Why are you know?
Yeah, I agree. It is hard to come up with them, and I feel like even stories might not. I don't know. They might not fully capture what we're trying to express. I feel like I have told this story before, though, about a girl that was in my sorority, and we were in the same class together, and then after class, it was a new semester, I was gonna talk to the professor about accommodations, and I went up and I did that, and she like waited for me to walk back together. She didn't have to. I mean, she could have left, but she decided to wait anyway while I talked to the professor, and she was just standing there with me. And then after we walked away, she was like, well, that was awkward. And I was like, was it?
What?
Like, it actually was just incredibly normal for me. But if that was awkward for you, that may just say more about you than it does about me. But of course I didn't say any of that. I said, it was pretty normal, and then walked away.
Yeah, well, you know what that reminds me of, actually? You know the episode we did recently, plugging our own episode, The Perks of Being a Blindie? If you didn't hear that, we talked about different little perks we get for being disabled. And I think people who dismiss those perks or say, well, why are you getting that? Why are you getting that?
Yeah.
Those are the same people who deny that we need any help, deny we have an issue, deny that there's anything going on. I think like those would be the same people who would not offer us any help, because they'd be like, why do you need it? Why do you need this help? Why, and I think that's just as damaging, if not more, than the over helpers. I think it's like so hard because you're just completely dismissed. With the over helpers, they're overdoing it. But with this, your disability and your challenges in life are just completely dismissed. Like they are not validating your challenges at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I was just thinking also about how, like the people that you've been with that it would be so convenient if they offered you a ride, but they just don't.
Yes.
And it's like, why? Like, there's a girl I know. I feel like it all comes back to Bible study. It's really not that traumatic of an experience, as I feel like I'm making it. But there's a girl who's in my group, and she lives like 10 minutes from me, and she had offered a couple times last year and gave me some rides, and we're not like super close. So it's okay. I'm happy to schedule my own rides, and periodically I would. Even while she was giving me and offering me rides, but like, she just like doesn't offer ever. And I'm like, we live so close together. Yeah. It would be so easy for you. It is like on your way to give me a ride, and people still choose not to offer, even though they know that you can't drive.
Yeah.
Like it's just a little straight. And of course they're under no obligation to do so. Yeah. And I don't want this to sound entitled, like, oh, well, she should just offer and whatever. And like, sure, I could also ask, but there were times I would ask, and it's just challenging to like schedule it in the right amount of time in advance that I need to. And then like all of a sudden, oh, I'm not going. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So it's just tough because, I think we've talked about getting rides before and how it can be even sort of a bonding experience of just being in the car with someone and getting to talk and share. And, that's okay. Like, then if people aren't going to do that for you, then they miss out on getting to talk and bond with you.
That's true. Yeah. It's never expected, but when it's so simple and people just kind of ignore the fact that you could really use the help. I mean, and like we said, it could be just them not thinking about it, or it could be them purposely like being like, I don't need that extra burden, or what, like thinking of you as a burden in some way. And you don't know. And I guess we'll never know people's intentions. And I think it's really, really hard. I think it's really hard to find those people, and Cass and I have talked about this. It's very hard to find those people who do meet in the middle and do have that balance of helping you enough. But I also think even if a person in your life is not perfect at it at first, they can be taught. I do think people...
It is a learnable skill.
It is a learnable skill. And you know what? It is on you, the disabled person, to tell someone how little or how much help you need. Truly, use your words. If they are helping too much, kindly ask them or tell them they don't need to help you as much. If they are not helping enough, kindly ask for a little more help. They don't know. Like, they're not you. They don't know. They don't know what you need, and they can guess, and it's really sweet when they guess correctly. But then if they guess wrong, it pisses us off half the time. So it's like, don't make people always guess. Like, you can use your voice.
It'll only make you upset.
It'll only make you upset because your expectations, because we know what we need, and we're like, our expectations are high because of that. And then when people mess it up, we're like, why are they, doing this, and this? Like, why aren't they helping enough, or why are they helping too much? And it's like, if we use our voice and we say that, I think people do listen, and they will. I had a friend,
communicate.
I had a dear friend who was helping a little too much, and I did tell her at one point, and I think, like you were saying earlier, this can maybe hurt people's feelings a little bit, but it helped. Like, she does still help. It didn't scare her away from helping me, but I think I said something like, hey, sometimes it makes me feel like I'm like I was kind of laughing, like, it makes me feel like I'm your child, like when you're, mothering me in this way, kind of. And it helped, though. Like, I think some people like don't even realize it. And then when you call it out, they're like, oh yeah. And then in the reverse as well, if you're like, hey, I could use a little more help, they're like, oh yeah, if they might not even be thinking of it because they forget you're disabled half the time. And then they're like, oh yeah, I will do that for you in the future. And most people are nice about it. If people act put out by it, well, you probably don't want to hang out with those people anyway.
Right. Exactly. I could not agree more. I think there's so many good examples of people just like nailing it too.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, I think like there's nothing that will give me like false infatuation for a man than him just like being incredibly kind or just describing things without prompting.
Yes.
Or like there was a guy that I had a situationship with, and like it was infuriating because the whole thing was infuriating, but he was also just really good about knowing what I could and could not see without me having explained it much at all. And I'm like, ugh, this makes it so much worse. And so, right, like there was it was a Halloween party at the place that he lived, and there was like this hard to miss step, or like hard to eat. There was a hard to see step, and it was pretty dimly lit, you know, for the spooky vibes of it all. And he was like, he was gently like, oh, hey, there's a step behind you. And, you know, unfortunately for him, I had already discovered that the hard way.
Oh.
Like almost tripping down the step earlier, but no one noticed, or at least he didn't. And so the fact that he warned me about it was just like so nice. And of course, you know, I was like, but
it makes our heart go aflutter, because they're thinking of you. They're being sweet and helpful. I think like, and I know you have something else to say, so I'm going to get right back. But in our Dear Side to People episode, we talk about this, how like it literally just makes us like go to the moon when people like, you know, read us things without us asking, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But did you have another example you said?
No, I mean, I was just thinking of like other times I've been around, like guys that I have also had a thing for, and like, just at a little art show with my friends, like one of my friends just started like telling me about the art on the walls, and I would have been fine not knowing, you know, I was just there to hang out. And if I really wanted to know, I would have taken out my phone or my monocular or something, and I could have just seen it. But like, he just started telling me about the art, and like, oh, that one's really cute, it's got whatever. But I'm just like,
that.
Oh, it's so nice.
Being in a buffet, people reading the buffet, like, love that.
It's nice because it really, like, to me, what that says is, I want you to be a part of this with me.
Yeah. Yes. We don't feel excluded.
It's inclusion. Like, that's inclusivity at its finest. People wanting you to participate in the general experience that they may not know fully how much, but they know that to some extent you're not fully able to participate in on your own.
And if you are doing it in a way that is not babying us, not pandering, not condescending, there is a difference. There is a difference. And I think if you're doing it with the right intentions, you can probably figure that difference out. I mean, just describing things to us without being like, okay, Casey, come here. Like, you know. Yeah.
I think even with rides, like, I get rides from a friend who is in my choir, and she's just a really lovely lady, and you know, she had to like rehearse for something additional before our choir rehearsal actually starts. So she had told me like, oh, I'm super sorry, I can't pick you up unless you want to go super early for no reason, but I can still take you home. And super kind woman, she takes me home, and last time she was like, oh, I'm so sorry I can't pick you up. And I'm like, no, like truly it's fine. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm completely incapable, right? So then I'm like, I can get a ride. That's how I get most places. She's like, yeah, but I like hanging out.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And I feel like when that's the reason, it's like, oh, well, I like hanging out too.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it just makes it seem like you're not a burden to them, and they actually enjoy your company, and it's very nice. And it's almost like you might be doing them a service by being an ear to chat with, you know, someone to chat with, someone to hang with.
For sure.
You never know.
This woman is retired, and so I'm also feeling like I'm helping her in some way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure she's not like a shut-in because she's fun and sociable. But
of course, but you're giving her some hangout time. I mean, some people are more extroverted than others, and they are lonely in the car, and they want to talk to someone, and they would rather be with someone. So I think you're also...
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we close, did you have any other stories to share of people being exceptionally kind?
Oh, yeah. Just the examples of like being in a buffet line and someone reading either reading the signs or just explaining. I think that's mashed potatoes, or just people describing things. I think when people get to the point where they do it without a lot of prompting is like our favorite sweet spot. That's like the sweet spot for sure. Because when you ask for help too much, you can start to feel like, oh, I'm being annoying or whatever. But yeah, I think just those examples. I'm sure there are plenty of times people have made my heart go aflutter, but I can't think of any like as many specifics. But just those kinds of things is nice.
Yeah, it's really kind. When people go out of their way for you, but not because they think that you're helpless, but because they want to be a good friend and a kind person.
Yep.
And because they like you. Yep. Which is nice. It's nice to be liked.
It is.
Because we like having friends as well.
It is. And yeah. I'm sure a lot of people with many different types of disabilities can relate to this. It's not just low vision. It's anybody with a disability can totally relate to this. And it's something that's not talked about a lot. And we've never done a dedicated episode. So I'm really glad we did. And I think there's this conversation could go on and on. There's 1,000 examples, but it's a good one.
It's worth talking about. And again, don't let that dissuade you from helping folks, like Casey said earlier.
Oh, yeah.
We are here to help you, help us, help each other.
Beautifully said, Cass. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think that should be the title of the episode. Oh, we could. We do choose the title after. For those of you who don't know.
I know, right? Well, we have a treat coming for you next episode. But until then, we will see you in 2 weeks.